He was the last person I wanted to see that night, and yet the only one who could save me. My car broke down in the middle of a storm, right in front of the house of the man I swore I would never talk to again. Life has a cruel sense of humor. The rain poured harder as I slammed the steering wheel, cursing under my breath. Headlights flickered, the engine wheezed, and then silence, the kind of silence that screamed defeat. I stepped out, sneakers soaking instantly, and looked up only to see him standing on the porch, cigarette glowing between his fingers, watching me like a ghost from a past I thought I had buried. Need help? His voice cut through the storm, deep, edged with the kind of sarcasm that made me grit my teeth. Ethan Carter. My high school rival, the boy who stole my first crush just to spite me, the man I told myself I hated. And yet here he was, older, broader, shadows of grease on his white t-shirt, his presence making the night feel even heavier. I wanted to say no. I wanted to tell him to go to hell. But the rain was relentless, and so was the helpless thud of my heart. Yeah, I muttered. Guess I don't have a choice. He smirked, flicked the cigarette into the wet grass, and walked toward me. The sound of his boots against the pavement echoed like thunder in my chest. When he leaned over the hood, sleeves rolled up, the sight of his forearms made me swallow harder than I wanted to admit. The storm wasn't the only thing breaking me down that night. He worked quietly, only the sound of tools clinking and rain slapping the pavement filling the silence. I stood beside him, arms wrapped tight around myself, trying not to notice the way his shoulders flexed with each movement. You still drive like crap, he finally said, not looking at me. I rolled my eyes. And you still talk too much. For a moment, something like a grin tugged at his lips, then vanished as quickly as it came. He bent lower, cursing under his breath when the hood nearly slammed shut on his hand. I almost reached out to steady it for him, but stopped myself. Touching him would have been like grabbing fire. The storm grew worse, lightning cracking the sky. He looked at me, then really looked. And for the first time in years, I didn't see the enemy from high school. I saw the man who had grown up in the same small town as me, who had left scars on my pride. Yes, but who also had been a part of my story whether I liked it or not. You should come inside, he said suddenly. Before you drown out here. I hesitated, but my shivering body made the decision for me. Following him into the house felt like walking straight into a trap. The living room smelled faintly of motor oil and coffee. It was messy but warm, worn leather couch, stacks of car magazines, and the hum of an old fan. I stood awkwardly by the door, dripping water on the hardwood floor. Sit, he said, tossing me a towel. I caught it clumsily, muttering thanks. Drying myself off, I sat at the edge of the couch, trying not to notice him watching me from the kitchen doorway. His gaze lingered too long, too heavy. What? I snapped, my voice sharper than I intended. Nothing, he said, shrugging. But his eyes told a different story. Something unspoken flickered there, something I wasn't ready to face. We talked that night. Not much at first. Just small jabs, awkward silences, the kind of conversations you have when history is both a wall and a bridge between you. But then the hours stretched, and the storm outside faded into background noise. He admitted he never meant to steal my crush back in high school. It wasn't about you, he said quietly. It was about me. I was confused. I stared at him, confused. His jaw tightened. I didn't know what I wanted. Or maybe I did, and I was too scared to admit it. There was a weight in his words, heavy and trembling. I realized then that maybe all those years of anger had been built on a misunderstanding. Or maybe on a truth I hadn't wanted to see. Because the way he was looking at me now, the storm in his eyes softer, vulnerable, it was the same way I used to look at him when I thought no one noticed. The silence stretched, unbearable. My heart pounded. And then, without thinking, I said, "So what do you want now?" He didn't answer with words. He stepped closer, slow, deliberate, until he was standing right in front of me. His hand brushed against mine, rough and warm, sending sparks up my arm. I should have pulled away. I should have told him this was a mistake. But instead, I leaned in. The kiss wasn't gentle. It was years of anger and longing colliding all at once, sharp and desperate, like two storms crashing together. My hand fisted in his shirt, his arm pulled me closer, and for a moment, I forgot every reason I had to hate him. When we finally pulled apart, breathless, I whispered, "You're still an asshole." He smirked, lips swollen. "Yeah, but I'm your asshole now." The weeks that followed were messy. We fought, we argued, we laughed. Old wounds reopened, but so did old dreams. I found myself at his garage more than I ever planned, watching him work, learning how he moved when he was in his element. He teased me. I pushed back. But beneath it all, something softer grew. We weren't perfect. Hell, we were far from it. But somewhere between late-night drives and stolen kisses in the back of his truck, we built something real. Something fragile but worth holding on to. One night, months later, as we sat on the hood of my now-fixed car, stars spread wide above us, he turned to me and said, "I never thought I'd deserve this. You, us." I looked at him, his face lit by starlight, and realized I didn't hate him anymore. Maybe I never really had. Maybe all along, I had just been scared of him, of myself, of what it meant to feel this deeply. "You do," I whispered. "We both do." He kissed me again. Slower this time. No storm, no rivalry, just us. And for the first time in a long time, I felt at home. Thank you for listening. Don't forget to like and subscribe to stay updated with the latest videos.